Hi everybody, it's Dina, and I want to do a quick informational video. No demos, nothing artistically super exciting today, but it's really informative, I think, if you are a mixed media artist who uses a lot of water reactivated media and who knows firsthand the pain of spraying some lovely spray ink over something and then going back into work and oh no, it's gone where it shouldn't. And I think if you know that headache, then you probably use Fixative, like I do. Either Krylon or something like this. No diss on Dick Blick specifically. All of these are pretty much toxic and pretty nasty to use. So I was really curious about finding alternatives. Turns out there is one. Downside is I've yet to find an alternative to that kind of fixative that's vegan. So if you're vegan, this is going to be problematic for you. Your options are either milk-based or gelatin-based. SpectraFix is a milk-based fixative. It uses casein, which basically it's filtering the various impurities out of milk and leaving, I guess it's a protein, I'm not entirely sure what the casein is, but it's the ingredient in Elmer's glue, and it's actually the basis for a type of proto-acrylic paint, not plastics based, but a water soluble paint that actually dries without being water reactivated. So casein is pretty much the standard for sign painting and commercial art in the 40s and 50s and 60s, up to the real invention and real emergence of acrylic paint. It's a flat and non-water reactivated water-soluble paint that has, high artists used it, commercial artists used it, so it was a very common media, and it's shown itself to be fairly stable and archival. There's nothing wrong with casein artwork in the art world, and so this actually uses casein as its basis for fixing pastel, not necessarily a new technique. They point it back to Degas. Van Gogh was also known to just slam a glass of milk over some of his drawings, and they've held up beautifully. So fixative was really something that, until the advent of spray cans and spray technology, it was kind of a holy grail of pastel and charcoal and a lot of those media that will smear if there's contact. It's kind of been a long pursued goal on the part of artists to have the ability to make these coats and isolate them from each other. So this product is one of those things that I think is both a little overpriced for what it is and fairly priced for what it is at the same time. You can make this, you can DIY this basically with skim milk. It has to be skim, and like cheap vodka in a spray bottle. And you pretty much have something that will perform similarly to this. For archival purposes, for convenience purposes, for not having to smell rotten skim milk, this retails about $17, and I think it's probably worth it. I'm going to work up a little test. You'll see a patch test, and the results I think will be interesting. Don't be discouraged by what you see. I still think this is a very good product. I'm not endorsed by them. I'm not paid by them or anything like that. You'll see pretty honest results in front of you. I'm going to be testing first a heavily applied loose Conti crayon, just scratched on. You'll see column 1, column 2, column 3. This signifies that I'm going to spray it with spray fixative, the SpectraFix, 1 time, 2 times, and 3 times. The recommended application is 2 or 3 times, and depending what you're doing, I would definitely do 3, possibly even more. But it's not, I haven't gone through very much. I think it's still a really good approach. Enough yakking, more testing, so I will move on. So these results initially look kind of damning, but I was holding the paintbrush and I can tell you a lot about the behavior just based on my experience. Heavy pastel applications, I would say this is actually not the best product for the use it's probably mostly intended for, oddly enough. Like, this is pretty much across the board fail. It would be less so if I had bothered to blow away my dust. Just a quick would have done a world of good in this case, so I probably should have done that, but now I know that for pastel, it's okay if you go thin, and it's nice for a really harder pastel, like a Carbothello pencil. I have used this a little bit with the Carbothello, and it does seem to help a lot. So just no serious heavy velvety worked pastel. I wouldn't go there. I'm pleased with actually the neocolor, and all of this sort of overspill has more to do with me overworking the gesso a little bit. The trick with putting down that layer over neocolor is always to keep a really loose hand, keep things very soft, and don't mess around. Just, put down your medium and get out of there as quickly as possible. As you start pushing the paint around, it starts to travel. And I would say that the third coat, definitely the more coats progressively stop that from happening more. So that's actually a really pleasing result. There's some promise here. And I'm really pleased, most of all, with how well this product keeps the spray inks from traveling, which a lot of people complain about and have trouble with, and it's kind of an ongoing mixed media thorn in a lot of people's sides. Like, how do I get my spray ink from not messing up my page? And, it's not airtight, but I would say that this definitely helps cut down on the travel that you'd get with just water or whatever. So SpectraFix, I think, is a great way to cut down on some of your studio toxicity if you are a mixed media artist. Now, that said, a solvent to solvent, and I definitely felt a little bit of caustic feeling, and I'm not like a super sensitive person. I don't have any known allergies or pulmonary problems, so I would definitely clear the room while this settles. You probably should not use a heat tool to speed the drying of this for fairly obvious reasons. It's an alcohol solvent, and one little spark and you're gonna ignite. So I really would be careful around open flame, obviously. And the other thing is, if you've got kids, or you're pregnant, or you're nursing, or if you have smaller, more sensitive people and critters around you, I would definitely, keep them out of your work area. I don't think that necessarily you're going to poison everyone in the house if you use this, but it's in between drying is a great time to go make and have a cup of tea, because it's, as long as the stuff's not airborne, I don't think you're really having any more trouble than you would if you were swabbing alcohol. But while it's kind of airborne, while those particles settle again, I would get out of the area. It's still a solvent, even though it's a much, much safer one than the toluene and acetone and other things that you might be encountering. So that's kind of the results of that, and hope that was helpful for somebody. Thanks. Happy painting, and I'll see you soon.